I'm going to be making one small loaf today, and this is going to be using natural plant-based colorants for the challenge. And this is the challenge for February, which is all about plant-based colorants. And that's the only colorants you can use. So no micas, no oxides, nothing like that. And the colors I'm using in this one, actually, let me backtrack a little bit. On the fragrance, I'm going to be doing an essential oil blend, and this has fir, it has lavender, and it has lime. That sounds like a really weird combination, but it smells really, really good. So I have that set aside. I actually put this together a couple days ago. I put some kaolin clay in there because that helps anchor essential oils when you are doing a natural soap. So I know I said it has to be plant-based, so kaolin clays, we can't use clays for colorants either. However, the kaolin clay, that one is okay because it does help anchor. It also adds a nice slip to your soap when you're doing it. So for this one, I'm going to do kind of a scenery one. For the challenge, we have to do at least a blend of some of the colors. So you need to have the individual ones and then a blend. And you don't have to blend all of them together. So I'm going to be doing multiple colors, but only blending 2 of them. I want to do kind of a scene. So I'm going to have 3 layers of green. It's going to be kind of hills. And then I have these 3 little evergreen trees. You probably can't see them very well, but they'll look nice once they're cut. And these, they're kind of a light tan color. I had actually just made some chamomile and colloidal oatmeal soaps, goat milk soaps, and that chamomile tea, that's what I used for my lye solution, made it kind of a light tan. So that is a natural color. So that chamomile tea does provide a nice kind of tan color. So I had the trimmings, I just saved those, put them in a ball, and then I wrapped them up real tight, added a little bit of distilled water to soften it up, and then I made the little soap dough with those. So I have those that are going to go in there. And for those colors, I have some dandelion. This is dandelion greens. That is from my house that I dehydrated. I have basil. This was something that was gifted to me. Somebody, a fellow gardener, had a bunch of basil, so I dehydrated it, ground that up. And then I have spinach powder, and this is from Wholesale Supplies Plus. Now, with these 3, they will be 3 different colors of green when I cut them. They're going to look great. They're going to look green. And then, I mean, the challenge pictures we submit pretty quickly. But with greens, they will not hold up in soap. So at least these kind of greens. You can do, I think somebody said doing indigo and annatto, if I'm saying that correctly, annatto seed. If you combine those 2, you can get a green that lasts. But these typical greens that come from the leaves, they'll look great after you cut them, but they will eventually turn a tan or a brown. And really using different layers, it's still going to look really neat once they are cured. And then that's going to be kind of the hills. And then for the sky, I have some alkanet from Brambleberry and then some rosehip powder from Wholesale Supplies Plus. The alkanet I have actually already done an infusion. If you can see that, it's a really pretty purple. It will lighten up. Since I did the infusion, it won't be a super light one. A super dark color. Rosehip powder, once it is in soap and it goes through gel, it turns a really pretty kind of a maroon pinkish color. So what I want to do is I'm going to do kind of a wall pour in the pot, one pot wonder. And I'm going to start with the alkanet, and then I'll do a blend of the alkanet and the rosehip, and then I'll have a layer of rosehip, and then I'll have a layer of rosehip with plain soap, and then I will have just a little bit of white. So you should have some really pretty sky right there. So I'm hoping that'll come through really well. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish getting set up. I have my little lye cups, they're separated out. For the first 3, have my oil set aside. I'm gonna go ahead and add my colorants to that. I'll do one, let it set up, set the tree, do the next one, let it set up, set the tree, and then do the third one. And then I will do the sky as a one pot wonder. So we'll come back when I have all my gloves on and ready to go. I forgot to say earlier that I also did sheep's milk. A friend of mine gave me some sheep's milk to try. And I had, you can see those little spots. This is in my oils. So yesterday I was making a different soap, and I had never done sheep's milk before. And typically, well, there's 2 ways of doing it. If you do like a powder, you can add the powder to your oils, which is usually what I do with goat's milk powder. I have done it to the cooled lye solution before. If you are doing milks, you want to have them frozen in cubes and then add your lye solution, your lye very slowly so everything stays nice and cool. And that is what I did. Within a few minutes of me adding the lye to the sheep's milk, and I'd only used half. I did half distilled water and half sheep's milk. Within a few minutes, the fats in the sheep's milk had already started to saponify, turning into soap. So I had to unfortunately throw all of that away. What I ended up doing is the soap that I did end up making, I put in 1:1 lye to water, and then I added the additional amount of the sheep's milk into my oils to make up for my total liquid content. Usually I do 1.5 liquid to 1 lye. So I'm doing just sheep's milk in those 3 bottom layers because I wanted to make sheep's milk soap. And it may turn a little bit brown. Sheep's milk is more of a yellow than like traditional cow's milk. Goat's milk is kind of a creamy color, but sheep's milk is more yellow. It does have almost twice as much fat content in it as compared to the goat's milk. So that's one of the reasons why those fats started to saponify. So anyway, the sky color, I don't want to have that additional yellowing in those in that batter, so I'm not going to be doing any sheep's milk in those tops layers, but it will be in those bottom layer. So anyway, I have everything separated out. I'm going to go ahead and get gloved up, and then we'll get started.